About a week ago, I focused on a video, and it was mainly on what they call the underground chamber within the Great Pyramid. I was trying to show how, well, definitely how much larger I thought that the Great Pyramid was. It's definitely a larger site, exactly what shape it is underground, which is kind of where I'm going here to begin with. I don't know, some people since that video, I've seen a few videos take it up, and they're proposing that it seems to almost look like the pinnacle of a obelisk. That is actually something I mentioned years ago. Now, we've all heard that the Sahara Desert at one time used to be greeny, almost. They say that it used to be like a tropical forest. Now, that for me doesn't make any sense. So they say that as the tropical rainforest dies off, it dries, and all this silt mud gets washed away down riverways, and then you're just left with the sand itself. Another thing that's always confused me about these sites is no matter where these archaeologists dig, there's just rocks, let's say solidified pieces of concrete or rubble, just scattered everywhere, and to no matter what depth that they dig to. Now, when considering how these dunes are meant to move around, the smallest particles would be at the surface. So why there's just various pieces just scattered throughout these entire dunes all over the place is something you're going to have to answer yourself. Obviously, some of it could come from the destruction of these sites or areas like I've got in the left-hand corner of the screen here. Now, the picture of the Great Pyramid in the top right corner, you can see the rubble almost looks natural that's lined up down the right-hand side. It seems to me like it's the exact same area as this, what I'm pointing out here. And it's also the site where mainstream archaeologists specifically say that the Egyptians were able to carve the blocks away to build these pyramids in the first place. Now, when I see these holes throughout this entire area, it almost looks like the remnants, the rusting away of where girders or rebar was, right? What it was, I've got no clue. Seems to lend to my thinking that it's where metal is eroded away. But we've only got to look at their own images that they've plastered all over Google to realise that that is absolute garbage. Of course, they could have stuck wooden wedges into cracks within this rock, expanded them with water to make blocks, yeah, but they wouldn't be able to move them. And they certainly would not be able to move them up any type of slope, no matter how many people they had pulling on it, right? Yeah. I want you to consider what I've just said there. No matter what type of incline there was at all, any incline, and they would not be able to move these blocks. Now, because it was built with concrete or cement, some type of mixture, lime mixture. In a previous video, I tried to point out how the three holes that you saw on the screen are from where girders were, which went into constructing this site, and why they are perfectly straight, and why he was able to end up being able to break into this site in the late 1600s through the hole on the right hand side and dropping through into the Great Gallery. We're not going there here. I want to focus on the rubble that you can see on either side of this Egyptian man here. Just look at the pile of that, because in my opinion there clearly was no removal of what they call outer blocks from this site whatsoever. It looks to me like it just completely eroded away, which it would do, wouldn't it? From weathering, frost would erode the outside first, which later got removed. What would happen to the lime powder which came out? The sand would get scattered all over the place, and like I was pointing out earlier, you see just these big brick-sized lumps of concrete all over the place, but some of it would re-solidify over what they call, or what they think is, the ground level, the bedrock. I've just said they want it both ways. They're talking about the bedrock itself being up to a mile or so, right, below the sand. But yet here, they say that the Great Pyramid is built on bedrock. Well, what you're looking at there is just the re-solidification of the lime powder that's come out of it. As it gets wet, it just re-solidifies. And it's also been scattered there for the public to walk around on in modern times. Right, so on with my main point. That was a bit all over the place and drawn out. So this is what the Great Pyramid looks like today, and you can see just how much it is eroding. Now I'm going to try to show you why it was not built with cut blocks. For one thing, it was poured in sections, layer by layer, into I'd say a rebar meshing, and that's the reasoning why it appears to have been built with blocks, because as the rebar itself erodes, rusts away, it will eventually crack because there's flaws there where it was, right? And that's why when you actually look at it, in most areas the blocks seem to be lopsided, slanted, but yet the piece next to it is touching it, yeah, almost to a millimeter. And the reasoning why I know that is because it's dead level. Apparently, right, the base of this thing is to within a third of an inch level from its base. What we see as its base today, a third of an inch level from corner to corner. And it's about 14 football fields square. That's how much area it covers, right? So there's only one way that you can end up with something that level, even today, using our technology, spirit levels and lasers, and that's from pouring it, right? Because it finds its own level, just like water does. It's level because it's found its own level. It's a simple concept.